Hi everyone, my name is Vicky and it's a pleasure to be with all of you today. I'm currently a junior at Baylor University, which is very hard for me to believe because if I'm being completely honest, I did not think I was going to make it this far. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but please allow me to explain. During my first semester of freshman year, I had a nervous breakdown. My dad can attest that I would call him crying nearly every single day. While I attribute much of this breakdown to typical college anxieties, homesickness, failing to make friends, and flunking out, the root of this problem was feeling insecure in my identity. I had no idea what I wanted to study, but more so, was clueless as to what my passions were, to what community I belonged, and what fulfilled me. As an avid planner, these lingering unknowns tormented my mind and wore on me. At the peak of this episode, just as I had begun to consider transferring from Baylor to attend a school closer to home, I experienced a small yet distinctive urge to attend adoration. This was unusual for me since, despite being a cradle Catholic, I seldom visited the Blessed Sacrament at that point in my life. Nevertheless, I obeyed the urge. I vividly remember walking into the St. Peter Chapel and being met with an unmistakable sensation of peace. As I sat down, all of the overwhelming, piercing thoughts that had been plaguing me were silenced. Growing up, I always thought that when God communicated with me, it would be through grand theophanies. The lights would flicker, the world would shake, and a bush would burn. The reality, however, left me far more awestruck. That day, within the stillness of the Adoration Chapel, my heart stirred with the desire to get more involved at St. Peter. The tranquility that this idea invoked assures me that it was planted by God. Immediately, I acted on this calling and delved into various aspects of the Catholic Center. Despite not knowing anyone, I began to attend the Catholic Student Association's Walking Rosary and joined a Bible study. This exposure made me fall in love with Catholicism and its teachings. Additionally, witnessing the kindness, reverence, and dedication of the leaders and participants of these groups inspired me to take my faith more seriously. As a result, I began to pray, partake in the sacraments, and attend Mass more consistently than I ever had in the past. This spiritual growth deepened my love for St. Peter, compelling me to get more involved. I prayed often for God to help me do so. My prayers were answered in my sophomore year when my good friend Alexa Mendez asked me if I wanted to be on the Christian ministry team for Bear Awakening, St. Peter's annual student-led retreat. There are simply not enough words in the English language to describe how much I love Bear Awakening and the time that I spent being one of its leaders. If you know me at all, then you've heard me attest to this retreat's unique ability to foster unity amongst its attendants through the sacraments in a way that transcends the weekend, positively influencing the broader atmosphere of St. Peter. Another cornerstone of the weekend that I admire, both as a leader and a participant, is that it demands surrender. Surrender of time, stress, and material possession to the Lord so that all focus rests solely on Him. On a personal level, not only did serving with this ministry catapult me into the St. Peter community by helping me befriend many new and interesting people, but it also helped me cultivate a love for the work of ministry. This past year, Bear Awakening served 70 retreatants, many of whom were not Catholic, and one of whom made the decision to convert by the end of the weekend, as well as over 100 student staff members. While my role required paying particular attention to the retreat's logistical components, sending emails, creating an in-depth schedule, and assigning staff roles, I was also tasked with ensuring the retreat was substantive. That is, making sure it provided students with a space to learn more about Catholicism and grow in their relationship with God. Shortly after leading Bear Awakening, I was asked to help jumpstart as well the women's ministry with my co-leader, Ronnie Garcia. Throughout this year, we have completely rebuilt the ministry, giving it foundation with a new mission statement and selecting a patron saint for guidance, St. Madeleine Sophie Barat. With this and the Lord as our base, we've been able to grow significantly by introducing various new events aimed at establishing camaraderie amongst the women at St. Peter. Last semester, we hosted a prayer journal making night and partnered with Forge, the men's ministry, for a gingerbread house building competition. We kicked off this semester by having a movie night where we watched the popular Princess Bride film accompanied by a large arsenal of popcorn and ice cream. And this past Thursday, we partnered with Martial Arts Waco to host a self-defense class. The most successful event of the year, however, was our Easter basket project. We organized a drive at 3 parishes in Waco, St. Peter, Sacred Heart, and St. Mary, to collect luxury toiletry items like perfume, body scrubs, and makeup. Due to the immense generosity of donors, we were able to collect over 100 articles and raise approximately $1,300. Using these funds, the women of Dwell spent a night assembling Easter baskets, which were donated to Unbound Now, an organization that helps women who have survived human trafficking. My favorite part about leading Dwell is seeing how these various activities have helped propagate community amongst the women at St. Peter, drawing them closer to Christ through fellowship and service. The sheer joy that I have received through facilitating religious formation, surrendering every aspect of myself to the Lord, and planning community building activities, as well as my adeptness and logistical skills that go into seeing them through, has confirmed to me that ministry work is a cornerstone of my identity, as well as a key component of my vocation and what makes me feel fulfilled. I am certain that if it were not for St. Peter and its ministries, especially Dwell and Bear Awakening, I would not have been able to discern and cultivate this calling. After I graduate from Baylor in 2026, I will be a student in the University of Notre Dame's ECHO program, where I will study theology and take on a catechetical internship at one of their partner parishes in the U.S. in an attempt to live out this calling. Beyond helping me to improve my spiritual life and discern my vocation, there are many other reasons why I love St. Peter. The first of which being, it is my home away from home. I know that's an overused phrase, so it sounds kind of corny, but I mean it. Amidst the chaos that is being a college student, St. Peter has provided me and various others with many indispensable comforts. Trusted faith/life mentors like the Focus team, permanent parishioners, and the St. Peter staff who deeply care about students and are always available to be confided in about personal or spiritual struggles. Consistent access to the sacraments. A welcoming, quiet space to study, gather with friends, and escape the hustle and bustle of campus. Like-minded peers who push each other to be the best version of themselves, as well as free meals and snacks like Wednesday night suppers for when schoolwork and a college student budget makes cooking feel impossible. I can safely say that I spend more time at St. Peter than I do in my own apartment, and I would not have it any other way. I also love St. Peter, and I'm grateful for it because of how much it has taught me. While my involvement at the Catholic Center has indirectly taught me many random things like how to cut an onion, how to dance the Virginia reel, and weirdly, how to hang Christmas lights, what I've learned throughout my time here extends far beyond that. Through St. Peter, I have learned the importance of an intentional community. That is, a group of people who focus on getting to know each other meaningfully and holistically through deep conversation and gatherings instead of surface-level formalities. The aftermath of daily Mass is a testament to this. Even though Mass lets out pretty consistently around 6 p.m. each day, people stick around until much later to catch up with friends and to meet new people. The narthex comes to life as everyone hops around to different groups to have fun and interesting conversation. This represents the broader atmosphere of St. Peter. Everyone is constantly trying to get to know new people and deepen their friendships with those they have already met. People care so deeply about getting to know each other that it is not uncommon to see lots of impromptu community-building events throughout the week. People going to grab dinner together on a whim after Mass, organizing a night of playing sports under the backdrop of a sunset, and perhaps the most recent and my most favorite example, going to the theaters to watch the cinematic masterpiece that was the Minecraft movie. Needless to say, it is precisely this welcoming and intentional environment that made me and so many others stick around St. Peter. It is this welcoming community that I have experienced that implores me to be welcoming to everyone I meet at St. Peter and beyond, just as others have done for me. Through St. Peter, I have also learned the importance of being inquisitive. Full disclosure, when I first started getting involved at the Catholic Center, I felt very intellectually inadequate. I kept finding myself in conversations where people were quoting Aquinas de Sumo from memory and referencing a bunch of niche old heresies I had never heard of. I was shocked when I found these same peers who seemed to know everything, asking Father Finch questions about other aspects of Catholicism. This showed me from the moment I arrived at Baylor just how passionate everyone at the Catholic Center is with respect to continually wanting to learn more and know more about their faith. Everyone here, regardless of how much they knew about the Catholic faith when getting involved in St. Peter, is a lifelong learner. You can see it in the questions that people ask Father Finch in the narthex, in the packed speaker series lectures, in the casual religious conversations that peers have amongst each other in the hallways and study rooms, and in the books that students borrow from the St. Peter Library. This posture of lifelong learning, this unquenchable desire to want to keep exploring and knowing more about the faith, inspires me on a daily basis to do the same. Finally, through St. Peter, I have learned the importance of being passionately Catholic. That is, living out the faith beyond the walls of the church. One thing I admire about my friends at the Catholic Center is that they demonstrate the same zeal and fervor for Catholicism outside of St. Peter as they do in St. Peter. They are unafraid to mention their religious identity in secular conversation and are proud to explain the truth and beauty of Catholicism to others in a respectful manner. I am forever grateful to St. Peter for the valuable lessons it has taught me, the vocation it has helped cultivate, the lifelong friends it has gifted me, and the ardent spiritual life it has prompted in me. I have grown so much being involved here and would not be the person I am today without St. Peter being in my life. Thank you.